Hi everyone, I'm Parmjit and I am a New Age anarchist. What is an anarchist? Well, we're pretty sure that I'm going to have a look in the Oxford English Dictionary for the definition of anarchist. A person who believes that laws and governments are not necessary. Not sure I completely agree with that definition. One thing I do know for sure is that the laws that we have got in place at the present time are not really helping us very much. We've got more unemployment, more homelessness and poverty, refugee problem, you name it. It's just getting worse. It's not getting any better. So, yeah, I don't really think that the legislation, the laws that we've got, the government that we have got, is doing what it says on the tin. So I'm just going to go through 6 things that I think an anarchist, a modern day anarchist, should be. Okay, and see what you think. Maybe by the end of the presentation, you will also feel that you are a New Age anarchist. Knowledge is the first thing. To know why things are in the kind of mess that they're in, you need to really know how it got there. So there are lots of areas that you could delve into. You could, for example, look into the politics of the big pharma, the oil companies, the kind of foreign policies that are going on. You could look into human rights and common law, the differences, and how legislation is actually being used against us, and all the stuff about the human rights and the common law is being kind of suppressed. You could find out about the banks and find out about fractional reserve lending, fiat money, all of these things. You know, there are lots of things that are not being governed very well. Okay, so the first thing is knowledge. What's next? Results orientated. Okay, so a New Age anarchist is somebody who wants better results from whatever they have been studying, and whatever they feel strongly about. You know, there are many areas that you could get involved in, depending on where your feelings lie most strongly. So after you've done lots of research, you could go and complain in the pub. You could go on a demonstration. Ideally, what you would do is roll your sleeves up, find a group that feels the same as you do, and throw some ideas around and get stuck in and just, you know, try things out. So it's a balance of being practical and kind of thinking knowledge over here and practical hands-on stuff. And as you try things out, you will be on a learning curve, and you know, you'll do the doing differently, and so one will help the other. One day, bam, you know, you'll have a better situation. Spiritual. Okay, so this is a big area. It's one I'm interested in. I'm on a spiritual journey myself, and I want to do more filming around this topic. But I think for now, if we can just agree that being spiritual in this context, I would say, is know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know how to know yourself, know how to be in touch with all the parts of you that are you. So you're not just in thinking mode all the time with your conscious mind, but you take time to connect with your subconscious mind, so that you, the whole of you, your body, your spirit, all works together as one. And that's the way to really be the best that you can be. So in a way, it's tied to the being results orientated. You've got to kind of find that unique you know, the strength that only you have, that mix of strengths and characteristics that only you can play that particular role in being a modern day anarchist. And we all have a role to play. Okay. Be self-directed. So this is, don't sit and wait for somebody to say, oh, why don't you find out about this? Or, you know, why don't you try this? Be self-directed. You think of the things that interest you. Form your own questions that you want answers to. And once you have a clear idea of what it is you want to know, the answers will come. The answers will come. Also, be self-directed about improving things around your immediate area. A friend of mine who works in a hospital says that change very rarely comes from Westminster. They're very good at giving out glossy leaflets, but if you actually want improved service, excuse me, this is where you've got to just go ahead and do whatever the improved practice is. So one of the examples is that they've decided that it's much better after a baby's been born to give the baby to its mother directly and let the bonding happen before the baby gets whisked off and cleaned up or whatever. Whereas before that, they didn't have that policy. So they just decided in that ward that's what they would do, and that's what they did. If you are a policeman, you know, your first duty is to the public, to protect the public. Never forget that. If you are told to use water cannons against peaceful protesters who want to try and stop fracking taking place, for example, something that's going to harm whole communities, it's going to pollute the water structure, and it's going to do all kinds of awful things. Well, you're a sovereign person. You don't have to carry out an order that you're told to do. Okay, so be self-directed. Be non-confrontational. It's very important to be the right kind of anarchist. Okay, so we're not the kind that will build up lots of barrels of gunpowder and stick it under the Houses of Parliament anymore. No, we don't do that. What we do is we educate ourselves, and we sit and look eye to eye in front of the perpetrator, or the person that is doing us wrong. And, you know, we would maybe say to them, so the child abuse inquiry, for example, could you explain why that's not actually taken place yet? And if enough people do that, if enough people are focused enough to realize what's actually important and what they want to see results for, then it will happen. But you don't have to shout, you don't have to be aggressive or violent. In fact, you know, all those things go very much against the grain of what a modern day anarchist is all about. And finally, reject dualism. Dualism is in our lives every single day. We're told vote Labour, no, don't vote Labour, vote Conservative, left wing, right wing, same old story. But as one very wise Indian saying goes, left wing and right wing are still the wings of the same bird. Okay, it's still heading in the same general direction, and that's absolutely right. There's a lot of division around race all the time as well. If somebody is telling you to hate a particular race, or, you know, Muslims over there, look at what they're doing with rape cases and child abuse or whatever. Okay, so you don't want to get caught up in that whole narrative that, you know, it's the Muslim community. No, it's not. That can happen in every community, but it's wrong in every community. It's the biggest wrong, if you like, is when it happens at the top level, because that's where it's really difficult to do anything about. That's where it gets propagated again and again. So you can lock up, you know, all the little men, if you like, but it's still going to carry on. So again, we're back to make friends with your Muslim community, make friends with all the communities that are around you, and stand together and, you know, look government in the eye and say, by the way, you know, where's that child abuse inquiry? We want one. We want one now. So that's just one example of the kind of issues that a New Age anarchist would be involved in, but there are lots and lots of different issues, lots and lots of things that could be done a lot better. And in the future, they will be done a lot better. I'm very excited because this summer, I just kind of have this feeling, like this tingly feeling at the end of my fingers, that there's something in the air, that things are happening, people are, I use the word waking up, but they are. Structures are being formed. So watch this space and I'll keep you informed. And if you think that you are a New Age anarchist, welcome to the bunch, and stay tuned and get in touch with me. We'll see what we can do together. Bye.